Sector 5 had finally risen from their long slumber with a big yawn to start off their day. Today was pretty relaxing, to say the least. The three got dressed and had a tasty breakfast of rainbow munchies and went on about their day. Wally played some video games, Kooky played with her stuffed animals, and Hoagie was in his room constructing his 2+4 inventions. He was very well known for, and while he appeared to have a portrait of Abigail and her trademark hat sitting beside him as he worked, he stopped every several minutes or so to look at him with a gentle smile, then went back to the building. It seemed that all he needed was this time was the memories, so he looked it up to stay motivated. Back in the main lobby of the treehouse, Wally had stopped his game to pull out the laptop he and Wally used for meetings and open up. Surely enough, Number Vine's symbol was on screen waiting for him. "Greetings, Number 4. Number Vine welcomed, sounding rather happy and proud. "Please bring your friend over. I got a lot of praise to give." "Kooky, come here. Meeting time," Wally said. He went over to her and set the computer on the chair. "Oh, hi, Number Vine," Kooky chirped, waving to the laptop. "Yes, hello to you both," Number Vine warmly chuckled. "I cannot begin to verbally express how proud I am for you all. I watched it all from my device, granted, and I was almost caught by the higher-ups of Mothership, but it was worth it, I guess." Wally chuckled a bit. "To be fair, we did quite in a scuffled battle," he said, pulling back his sleeves and pant legs to reveal several bandages, bruises, and a couple of scratches on his limbs. Kooky did the same thing with her sleeves. "At least we won this time, though," Kooky said, pulling her oversized sleeves back over her hands. "And it was a good start, but be prepared for the tougher times ahead. They only sent at least a couple of billion kids to Earth, and I think they've realized that you guys don't trust them either. So they're working hard to have the entirety of the kid population outnumbered, to which they will pull off rather easily, I might add." Kooky and Wally gulped hearing this, as they both looked at each other. Then they remembered something. "Gotcha. We will inform the recommissioning squad if things get out of hand." Wally agreed with a thumbs up. "Well, you guys take care of yourselves for now, and relax until then. Maybe celebrate wherever you've earned it." They all signed off and closed the computer just in time before Hoagie walked into the room. He appeared to be humming something with a smile on his face. "You two, we're headed to Lime Ricky's later this afternoon, but first Number 5 needs me for something up in the moon base," he said. With an upbeat tone, he walked towards the balcony. "I'll be back shortly." Then he left. Abigail sat in her office, while Fanny had now brought a tray holding in 3 mugs of hot cocoa. "These marshmallows will be fresh, 86, Abigail said, eyeballing her cup. "Yes, sir. Pick the best ones I could find," Fanny replied, smiling a bit, "and Number 2 should be arriving in any minute now." "Good. I want to give him some recognition for his bravery the other day. You should really seen him out there, with the flying and whatnot." Abigail let out a small happy sigh. After a few minutes, Hoagie poked out his head through the doorway. "Hello, you called?" he said with a soft tone of voice. "Hoagie, come on in," Abigail grinned, as Hoagie gladly sat on one of the chairs, taking his cup of cocoa and marshmallows. "So, what did you need me for, sir?" Hoagie asked, taking a careful sip from his mug. "Just wanted to acknowledge all your hard work in the recent past." Abigail had just begun to elucidate. "You see, during my first few days here, I gave Hoagie the position here of Victor 5's leader, and let's just say that he's taken it pretty seriously. I still got a lot of good reports about him, saying that he's been pretty busy with his assignments, and that he takes great care of his remaining members. But the one thing I'm most proud of for you of all, Hoagie, is even during our little movement on the battlefield, you soon have found the courage to help the other kids and handle your problems pretty damn good. Since then, I've gotten word from a lot of you kids that they're impressed with your efforts. Some even say they looked you up at the first fight. Hoagie's eyes widened at what he was hearing. Really? They do? He was on the verge of joyous tears. He hadn't heard this much admiration from the other operatives, and just felt deeply honored. You betcha, Abigail cooed, getting up from her seat and snuggling him quickly, before sitting back down and clearing her throat. Anyways, in conclusion, I'm quite frankly surprised at how well he's done so far. She turned back to look at Fanny, who was now finishing up her hot cocoa. This is very exciting news indeed, sir, and I wish the best of luck of you in the future, number 2. You did good. Fanny smiled warmly to him as she stood up and stretched. Abigail excused her from the room and turned their gaze to Hoagie. With a happy expression that still plastered onto the face, she nodded as if to excuse him from the room as well. If this keeps up, we'll have their plans fooled in no time. I'm such a pretty young lady, Abigail thought. I'm back, Hoagie called out as he got back inside the headquarters, only for something to pounce on him, knocking him out of his rear. It was none other than Vector V5's baby skunk friend, Bradley. Bradley? I haven't seen you in a while. Hey there, buddy, Hoagie groaned as the small, half-robot skunk snuggled into his shirt, gurgling as he did so. We have found him hiding in a shrub while you were meeting number 2. He's been crying for you ever since we took him back there. Kooky blushed with joy, seeing Hoagie's reunion with Bradley. Then the evening finally came, and the 4 made their way over to their favorite celebratory hideout, Lime Ricky's. Once they made their way to the underground bar. Look, kids! It's Hoagie and his gang, one kid shouted. Everyone started applauding, cheering and whistling. Hoagie then waved to everyone, and so did his friends as they searched for an empty booth to sit in. When they shortly did, Kooky and Bradley and Hoagie sat down, while Wally ordered and purchased the sodas. Finally, Wally sighed. A nice evening for a soda and vegging out. He then sat in the booth next to Hoagie and Bradley, setting the cup's bubbling sweetness at the center of the table. So what did number 5 want you in her office for? Kooky brightly asked, guzzling her strawberry-flavored pop. Let's just say she's super proud of my little performance the other day, alongside with a couple of other things, said Hoagie as he took a confident swig from his root beer mug. I bet she's falling for ya, Wally teased, his buddy causing Hoagie's entire face to turn bright red as he nearly spits out the soda. Kooky and Wally simply laughed in a joking of a way, and so did Bradley, amused as by the utterly flushed look on his face. Hoagie didn't mind too much, even though he just simply chuckled with them. But yeah, we were bloody impressed with what you did back there, Wally agreed. Yeah, Kooky said. We just can't say it enough. This is the only start of a beautiful, kick-alien-ass journey, but we're not backing down just yet. Hoagie was more confident than he ever was. All he needed was a push in the right direction from his friends. By at least 7 days or so since their first combat, the days were now a mixture of peace, but all tension was at once. The tougher conflicts were pending, but almost unpredictable as to when they'd come back. Planet Earth was not taking any chances, though. All the operatives, both Galactic and Earth kids, had several days of drills and exercises, as well as more training orientation. Abigail ordered some allies to construct bunkers, weapons, aircrafts, and even transmitting devices. Hoagie obviously led those 2 times 4 technology field, alongside with assisting new operatives. After all was all set, then half the week, the kids headed back to their respective tree houses and relax and do, kid stuff. Cree had spending time with her older brother to celebrate his recovery, and they had pizza and soda for one dinner evening. It's so great to see you back out of the hospital. I was so worried, Cree said, her arm around Leon's shoulder. Me too. Though things won't be the same now that I have a prosthetic replacement for my leg, Leon said, moving his artificial limb a little. I'll get used to it. Cree smiled. I bet you'll pull through, Lee. Trust me. She patted him on the back before going back to her pizza. Hey, I don't want to sound insensitive or anything, but where's your sister? Oh, she's been out and about lately, Cree spoke with a mouthful of pizza. Her dorky little friends and such. I see. Judging from how you sounded just now, it seems like you're holding a grudge. Leon looked a bit baffled. Cree grumbled a bit before swallowing some of her pizza. Oh, it's nothing really. I just assumed little kids had launched a missile and attacked you with. I kind of held a grudge against them for the accusation on my end. Leon then opened his mouth to speak, but he halted himself before anything got out. Look, I'm sorry, Leon. I guess I got a bit overprotective back there. Leon sighed, hugged his teenage sister in a reassuring way. It's perfectly fine, Cree. I understand your frustration. Maurice had recently heard the news of Leon checking out of the hospital, and he sighed in relief as he took out his phone to video call him. Back in the motel room, Leon's phone went off as he picked up to see that Maurice was calling. Be right back, sis. He quickly walked to the bathroom and answered the call. Hey, Mo, what's shaking? We just wanted to see how you were doing now that you were out of the emergency and such. How's your leg? Maurice asked, before Leon turned the camera towards his prosthetic leg. Oh dear, should have seen that coming. Maurice wiped a bit of sweat from his brow. Don't worry, I'll manage soon enough. Well, it was a little tough for a while for me and my teammates. Rough, nerve-wracking, but still exciting as hell. Long story short, we fought countless amounts of alien life. Who to tell the truth? That's why I wanted to launch the missile right away. In the sky. Maurice chuckled nervously. To get rid of the aliens? Leon's eyes opened a bit in surprise. Yeah, they would have stayed away for almost a week, but I just know they'll be back coming soon for me. So that must be why the hospital locked down the other day. Anyways, I'm heading out in the motel with my sister Cree. I wish the best of luck to you in your upcoming clash, Leon concluded. Maurice waved goodbye, and then the call ended. A small, chubby young girl by the name of Lizzie strolled down the pavement in the 9 p.m. dusk, with no one around except for her own quiet thoughts. Lizzie, a familiar British accent softly called from behind her. Nige? He then turned around, to find nobody standing there. She frowned a bit at this and continued her walk, only for that voice to call her name once more. But this time it was all around her. Come on, Nige, where are you? Please come back. She took a leaf at the moment, and his echoing voice chuckled maliciously and answered, But I cannot be with you anymore, Lizzie, nor I ever will be. But why? Lizzie whimpered. You found a new way of life, new friends, and all of those who have defied me and your own planet, you shall be no more soon enough. But you can't do that to us. We all care about you, Nige. You just gotta believe when I say that. That's Nigel Uno to you, Miss Divine. Nigel's voice boomed as the clouds above began swirling, forming a hole in the sky that proceeded to violently suck everything in sight. Lizzie was obviously terrified of what was going down, so the only thing she could do was run away, the best she could. All the while a menacing voice of who was once caring, lovable child cackled cruelly at the world's expense. He almost sounded like father as he laughed. It was so evil. Eventually Lizzie was exhausted and couldn't run anymore. Screaming for her dear life, she was pulled into the swirling dark abyss above her. Gah! Numbervine's white, pupilless eyes shot open, her breath frantically heavy. She looked around and realized that it was all in her head, seeing the rainforest environment pod around her. She looked as if sap-like tears were forming her eyes. Oh, Nigel, she quietly whined. How I wish I could help you get back to your true self. If I could just hug you one last time and tell you how much we miss you. That wouldn't be enough, but no. She broke down weeping quietly as she possibly could in that moment. The last thing she ever wanted right now is verbal abuse from her bosses on top of the emotional pain. She lay curled up in the tree bed for the rest of her bedtime, eventually crying herself back to sleep. Someday, I will get him back. She drifted off once more, wiping the sap from her eyes.